Jalen Brunson is an amazing basketball player, all NBA player, all of that. But he's not LeBron James, he's not Kobe, he's not James Harden, he's not Luka Doncic. And you know what? 2 weeks from now, he might have done something miraculous and we can have a different conversation. But what I'm saying is not even really a criticism of Brunson. It's more a criticism of the Knicks coaching staff and the way they are using him, but more so the way they aren't using the other extremely talented offensive players on this team. If we look at the last 2 playoff runs, Jalen Brunson has a usage rate higher than Allen Iverson did in 2001, where Allen Iverson's second leading scorer that playoff run was Aaron McKie. Jalen Brunson has Cat, Mikal, and OG, yet he has a higher usage rate than 01 Allen Iverson, a higher usage rate than any Kobe playoff run ever. And it just doesn't make sense when you look at this roster. Everyone kind of doubted this team because of their defense, I understand that, but I always just didn't really believe in them as this offensive juggernaut, even when the numbers say they are, because I knew this is what it would come down to. And it's very similar to back in the day when MVP Derrick Rose, where that team had less offensive talent, but still probably could have been a little bit more diverse, a little bit more creative in their offense. And you just watch this Knicks team and they do nothing. They do nothing to get Mikal going. They do nothing to get Cat going. It is just Jalen Brunson pick and rolls, and he is amazing. So that can win you a lot of games. That can win you this series, but for them to be a true contender, I just think their offense needs to be a little bit more diverse. And to be fair, I know it's a little bit more difficult than I'm saying because Cat, OG, Mikal are very good offensive players. They aren't really playmakers in that way. So you don't want to get them the ball in the wrong spot where they have to create something for someone else and end up in a turnover, but they are good enough offensive players to make the defense shift, right? There's no reason why Tobias Harris is getting more touches than OG or Mikal. And speaking of that playmaking aspect, Jalen Brunson is a good passer. He's not an elite passer, and he's also 5'11". So you're putting the ball in his hands. He's gonna get swarmed. He's not gonna be able to see over the defense. Not that we really see it hinder him in that way, but again, it's not like it's Luka or James Harden or LeBron where it's almost just as scary to trap them as leaving them one-on-one because they can kill you with their playmaking as well. Jalen Brunson is not that level of a playmaker. But this is something I don't really see changing in the midst of this series, you know, win or lose. Jalen Brunson's just gonna have to be Superman at times, and we know he can do that. But in terms of this team going forward and how you build around Jalen Brunson, maybe you want to put more actual playmaking around him. Maybe, but I'm looking too far ahead. We got a series in front of us right now that seems like it's going to be a very good one. And back when Jalen Brunson got hurt, I kind of thought, I made a video talking about how it might be a blessing in disguise because it's going to force them to use Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby in different ways. And they did while Jalen Brunson was out, and they've completely gone away from that since he's been back. But speaking of blessing in disguise, Beef Stew getting hurt. No disrespect to Beef Stew. I know there's a lot of memes around Beef Stew like he's just a goon out there, not a good player. He's a very good player. I actually believe he's probably one of the more underrated players in the NBA right now. But Paul Reed is a different level of an athlete that really stands out on the court, especially when you compare it to a hobbling Beef Stew, which that was in game 1. But Paul Reed is someone that is gonna beat Josh Hart to a board. He's someone that can switch out on Jalen Brunson. He's someone that can beat everybody down the court. He's someone that can dribble the ball once or twice and get to the rim in, you know, difficult situations that maybe Jalen Durant can't at moments. And I'm saying all this, and I just went and looked. He only played 11 minutes. He only played 11 minutes, but those were a loud 11 minutes that I feel like really had a huge impact on the game. And I didn't know this at the time I started talking about it, but he was a plus 13, the highest on the Pistons in that game, and it showed watching that game. So no, I don't believe that Paul Reed is a better player than Beef Stew, but for this particular matchup, I like Paul Reed a little bit better. And speaking of the Pistons bigs, one thing they are doing that is kind of hindering the Knicks offense a little bit is they are putting Jalen Duren on Josh Hart, which does quite a few things. One, any action between Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart, well, you're inviting Jalen Duren into the play, which I'm not sure you would want to do, although I'm not sure who on this Pistons team you actually would want to attack besides maybe a Beef Stew on the perimeter. I'm not sure who there is to attack. You know, Tobias is holding up. Cade is playing amazing defense right now, so Maybe getting Jalen Duren isn't the worst thing in the world, but again, that's not something you want to invite. Of course, the most obvious reason you put Jalen Duren on Josh Hart is so he can help off of Josh Hart. So any Mikal drive, any Brunson drive, Cat drive, OG drive, Jalen Duren is going to be right there at the rim. And one, if you want to pass it to Josh Hart and he's going to shoot a three, that's fine. Two, we don't believe in you guys as passers like that, Mikal, OG. So if that's what you want to do, we're fine making you guys playmakers in that scenario. And three, having Jalen Duren, one of the best rebounders in the game that can help off of Josh Hart and be there in place for the board, is keeping Josh Hart off the offensive boards, which is a big part of the Knicks offense. And when you think about it, you got Jalen Duren on Josh Hart in position to get boards. You also got Cat operating almost exclusively from the three-point line for whatever reason. That's the Cat, every time he gets the ball, it's at the top of the key. He's never really close to the basket, so he's not in position for boards either, and that's eliminating a huge part of why the Knicks were so good this year, getting boards. So I know I sound very negative toward the Knicks. I would say the Pistons have been the better team so far through 2 games. I also think that doesn't really matter, you know. You just got to win games how you win them, and that's what makes the playoffs special. You know, there's going to be some outlier performances. I would assume Tim Hardaway Jr. is not going to go 0 for 8 again. I would assume Malik Beasley's going to hit some threes. I would also assume that Cat's going to touch the ball more, so I don't really know. I don't have a good handle on this series. I will say the Pistons have looked like the better team, though. But real quick, I don't think anybody is actually talking about the pressure on this Knicks team. Maybe they are, maybe I'm just not seeing it, but the fact that you gave up 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges, you were this cute, I don't want to say cute, that sounds very disrespectful, not cute, but you were this fun upstart team a couple years ago. Now you have expectations, even though no one expects you to win this year, but there's supposed to be a step forward. And trading 7 first-round picks, Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo for Mikal and Cat to be in the same exact spot you were the year before is kind of a fireable offense. Like, for the last couple years, people have been talking about how the Knicks are different now. They're a well-ran organization. James Dolan is no longer involved in the decisions, all that. And then you give up 5 first-round picks for a guy who's not even an all-star. And not even that, you gave up 5 first-round picks for a guy your coach doesn't even really utilize like a star player. And something I haven't really heard anybody talk about, Mikal Bridges only has 1 more year after this year on his deal. He's going to be a free agent next summer. And if this is what you're getting from him, if this is what your coach wants from him, there's no way you pay him whatever he's going to be worth next summer. So to me, there's a real possibility that Mikal Bridges is traded again this summer. And there's no way you get 5 first-round pick level return for Mikal Bridges. So I think that might be a big L in this Knicks whole thing. They might have just ruined any potential chance they had to be a true contender. For example, Giannis might want out this summer. You know what Milwaukee probably wants in return? 5 first-round picks, but you gave that up for Mikal Bridges. I don't believe the Knicks should go get Kevin Durant, but if you wanted to go get him, it would probably help if you had some draft picks. But you gave that up for Mikal Bridges. So I think that has potential to be one of the worst trades in NBA history. If you go home in the first round to the Pistons after trading 7 first-round picks, that would be crazy. And it's not like you have this young team, right? They're not old, but it's not like Jalen Brunson's going to hit another level and Cat's going to hit another level. No, this is who they are. And you traded away all your assets to get better around them for a guy that's going to be a free agent next summer, and you probably don't want to pay whatever deal he's going to get. It's just a terrible deal, and it's going to look even worse if they lose in this first round against the Pistons, but I'm not predicting that's going to happen. Wouldn't surprise me. I don't really know what to make of this series so far. Like I said, Pistons have been the better team so far through 2 games, but they only got 1 win, so it doesn't really matter. Let me know what you guys think is going to happen. Please like, comment, subscribe. It will mean the world to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm out. Peace.